Hello, how are you? This is week, whatever it is. I don't know what week it is actually, of these Insta Live sessions. Let me just quickly check my notebook and tell you what week it is. It is week 43 of these Insta Live chats. And thank you for joining me again. This week I'm talking to a friend of mine that is an esteemed broadcaster from India, Bombay in particular. And she's also been an actor. She starred in some massive film, which is kind of funny because I'm not really up on Bollywood at all. And I saw the name of the film she was in. I was like, oh shit, wicked. But yeah, so we go back years of raving and having fun and running around and her getting me out of trouble as well. But yeah, it's the wonderful Ramona Arena. And I'm just going to get some friendship requests going. There we go. Fadak. Yeah, how have you been? You all right? Good. Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me okay?
Hands free and all.
Well done. You found a grip for your phone. Excellent.
Well, it's actually resting on my yoga props. So.
Your yoga plops or your yoga plops? Because yoga plops sounds like something else entirely.
No, that's your language. I say props.
Props. Okay, not props. Yeah.
No, 2 blankets and a bolster on my yoga chair.
And not those block things. That. In fact, what are yoga blocks for? I never understood that.
So yoga blocks are for, I mean, for a variety of different things. You can do restorative yoga poses with them, and also if you're a beginner, very often they actually help you do poses that you can't do. So perhaps if you can't really get down.
They're a bendy aid, basically.
They are, but they're also used for a lot of other things, a lot of corrections. Also, sometimes you're an advanced student, but you still need to get so much of alignment in place. Because yoga is not just about flexibility, right? It's not just about going down and touching your toes. It's about what's happening to the spine. Where's the chest? What's going on with the neck, the head, blah, 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 blah.
I just feel like I should sit up straight while I'm talking to you. Otherwise, I'll get criticized for my posture.
I won't.
Oh.
And I need to show you something, though.
Go on.
Look at what I got.
Why have you got matchsticks? I don't understand. Oh, to keep your eyes open, because it's so fucking late in India right now. It's like it's 11:30 p.m. right?
I know. Speaking of which, keeping me up at this hour.
Speaking of which, hi Jyoti who's just jumped in. Hello Priti. Hello everyone. Thanks for joining us. So yeah, this is it, right? So your whole thing, right? Ramona Arena as this thing, because that's not your real surname. Where did Arena come from?
What? It is my real surname.
Is it? I googled you and like loads of other weird surnames came up. Is that really your surname?
No, yeah, it is. I mean, so long story short.
I thought it was an invention. I thought like I am an arena. I can hold down an arena. That's my name, you know.
I'm pretty sure I could, and I have.
It'd be like me calling myself Nerm Broom Cupboard. Or Nerm Toilet, because I could hold down the whole toilet.
Oh, you could hold down more than that.
But anyway, yes, sorry, I just talked all over you. Please continue.
No, that's fine. So, long story short, like I was saying, it's not the surname that I was born with, but I did get married. So that's the surname I took on. And even though I'm not married anymore, there were 2 things that made me keep it. One was my ex-dad-in-law. He said it's okay that, you know, the marriage didn't work out, things don't work out, but it would just make my heart really happy if you still kept the surname. I'd love for you to be an Arena for the rest of your life.
Oh.
And yeah, so that really, really made me feel, you know, so good in my heart. And the other reason is, I mean, when you live in India and you want to get something as simple as a name change done, or even the tiniest change, okay, to any sort of legal document, national document, it is a nightmare. So the thought of just changing the name on my passport, my license, my bank accounts, my, everything. Ration card, voting card, PAN card, like blah, blah, blah. It's just like, ugh, I don't want to go through that.
Yeah.
It is just terrible. It's really, really terrible. So that was the other thing. And the other reason is just, I think the name sounds wonderful. It just sounds like it was meant to be. So I was like, why not? And my mom gave me a Spanish name at birth, which is Ramona. And yeah, the surname ended up matching it.
That's so fucking cool. But also, it opens the door to lots of jokes like, are you related to national cricket or indoor or basketball or concert?
Nobody.
Because you all share the same surname, no?
Yes. Wow, that was not one of your good moments here, man. I see Clemens, come on. Hi, Clemento!
Hey,
and hi,
Clemens,
everybody else that's saying hi. So sweet. Thank you all for your compliment.
And so that's it. So back when you were VJ Anusha, not Anusha, VJ Ramona, Anusha was your co-presenter on the day that we met.
Yes.
Which was,
do you remember that day?
Yeah, because we flew in from the UK to do this big gig. I was there for a weekend. And it was at Mykonos in Bombay in 2002. And of course I remember it because I was there for all of a fucking weekend. And it was like...
Right. Cheers, darling, by the way.
Huh?
I said cheers, darling, by the way.
Cheers, lovely. Cheers. But yeah, so when you were just VJ Ramona with no arena, I guess, that was the first time we met, right? And then you were hosting something at that... What were you doing at that gig? Was it just an MTV thing where all the presenters had to be there?
I guess so. I mean, I don't remember this first meeting. I know we have a picture from that meeting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's, anytime there was a gig, you were just there as a VJ, unless you were out of town doing something else in terms of your VJ work.
Right.
Or perhaps a freelance gig.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, otherwise you were just there because, it's an MTV gig. And besides, I love music. So anytime there was a gig happening, I was there.
Yeah.
And it was a really nice time, actually, when I used to VJ with MTV, because that's the time when MTV really was about the music and not about insane, rubbish, trashy reality TV shows.
Mm. It was less about the drama and more about the actual substance, I guess. But having said that, I found your show reel online from those days. So just for those that are uninitiated, Ramona was a presenter on MTV India at its peak, which was like, I guess, late 90s, early noughties. And that was kind of a big revolution in India, was music television. Like, it opened up the country to new sounds, new ways of thinking, all sorts of cool shit.
Yep.
And I think you were, amongst a group that really transformed how people viewed everything in India, from fashion to music to what women could do in the public eye, I guess. And that also led to some really cringe-worthy interviews that you had to do.
Well, I'm just going to say actually that there was like a generation before me where when it just kind of started, and those are the guys that I really looked up to, and they made me want to become VJs. It was like, yes, this is what I want to be. This is what I want to do in life. Because, it's not just that you're on TV and stuff, but you get to go to gigs, you get to like speak about music, you get to meet artists, and like hang with them. And like, for instance, I was the biggest Alanis Morissette fan. Okay.
Oh yeah, you got to chill out with God herself. That's fucking cool.
My God. I know. So, it's like that happened. There was that. Like, I'm sitting in front of her and I'm just staring at her and she's like, hi. And I'm like, hi. And then I was like,
you're trying really hard not to lick her face.
I love you. But I was just like, okay, control, be cool. And then just as like my director says, okay, ready and action, I just look at her and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe you're sitting in front of me. Slap me, pinch me, poke me, do something. And so she goes, okay, I'll slap you. And I'm going, oh.
Really kinky and really odd at the same time. Like that is so fucking creepy. It's unbelievable.
But we had such a great interview because, the thing is, like, you actually do have intelligent questions to ask. You have so much to say. And the thing is, when you interview people, you also just don't want to be too enamored by them. You don't want to be like all in awe. So you have nothing constructive to say to them or to ask them, you know, and you're just going like, oh, you're so amazing. And you know, that song of yours is so amazing. And yeah, somebody said Jagged Little Pill. That is like the most epic album.
Was it that era?
No, it was the next one where she did the Thank You India. So
it's so funny because I think I saw a clip of it, but she didn't actually touch you. It was quite funny. She was just like away from you, but I think a little bit hesitant to kind of actually make contact.
There was air slapping going on. Air slapping.
Hey, big up Nikhil. Nikhil's in the house. Fellow presenter, buddy of yours.
Yes, yes.
That's true, actually.
And then it was funny because I ended that interview with a poem that I'd written for her. And she really liked it. And she took it with her. I didn't give it to her. She took it. But it was a really cool poem. But it was just basically one that said, thank you for being who you are and for existing, because your work has just like, I mean, I don't remember everything that I wrote in there. It wasn't that long either. But it just, Jagged Little Pill was just huge for me in so many ways. It just, yeah.
How old were you at this point? Because like writing a poem to your big sort of, you know, for someone that you admire is great when you're about 15, I guess.
I know. I was just like a wee bit older than that, but I really didn't care because I was like, this is the one shot I've got.
Yeah,
and
fuck it, why not? Yeah.
And I mean, and the way I used to write was very similar to the way that she would write.
That's what you told yourself, I guess.
Well, no, not really. A lot of people that would read the stuff I would write would be like, that's very Alanis Morissette like. And you know, it's like the angst that she had was like an angst that I had, which is why I kind of felt like, yeah, I relate. I know it.
So on that whole note, you just said at the beginning, you just said a while back, a few sentences ago, in fact, that the trick is to not be too enamored at the subject you're talking to, right? So how did you control yourself there, having written a poem, having all this shit to splurge? Like, I mean, there must have been other ways of controlling yourself with other big sort of people you've interviewed.
Ask yourself the same question, Nerm.
Oh,
how are you controlling yourself right now?
I can tell you, right now. I'm in awe of you, Ramona. No, fuck that. The thing is, I think that my trick was that I don't generally give a shit about anyone apart from Prince. And Prince is dead now. So I'm just like, I'm like, okay, they're just people. Everyone's just normal and lovely and whatever. That's fine. So I don't think there is that many people that I'd be like, oh my God. Apart from maybe, even people I admire, like say Neil Gaiman or, you know, people anyone to do with Star Wars. But again, I think I'm just old and fucking jaded now. I don't think anyone really, I think, Prince would have fucked me up starstruck wise for sure. But yeah, I mean, so how did you manage that then? What were your tricks? Because I'm sort of a negative bastard, which is how I deal with it. How did you deal with it?
No, I don't think you're necessarily negative. I just think you're human, and you just acknowledge that everybody else around you is human as well. And that's pretty much how I always looked at it. There was nobody on that much in awe.
It just froze. And it's spinning. He just says, there is nobody, what? And then you've just come back.
Yeah, sorry. I said there was nobody really that I was that much in awe of, or I was that enamored by. I think, like, I mean, I just brought Alanis up because she's really, like, the interview that I remember.
Alanis Morissette is gangster, let's be honest. She's so gangster.
Yeah. You know, and I mean, there were other fun moments in interviews, of course, you know, that I've done with people, but nobody that, there really is nobody on this planet. Like now, not even Alanis anymore. I wouldn't be that gaga. I still think she's cool as hell. I love that she's a mama with her 2 babies. Like, I mean, I keep up with what she's doing.
I was going to say, you know her address,
I don't stop.
Her shoe size, like fucking dress size, the children's names, what school they go to. It sounds like you're about to...
No. I don't know all of that. I just know that she's a mom now, and I see like the things she posts sometimes, the things she writes. And it's just interesting to see how she's evolved and like gotten into a more like softer, soulful, spiritual space.
Which is kind of like what you've done, I guess, because you had your whole VJ thing, then you became an actor. On what fucking massive film were you in?
No, you got this wrong.
So all of this shit about you on the internet isn't true.
No. I mean, you just got the order wrong.
Okay, fine.
So okay, let's just do a quick rewind, okay?
Please tell me, I'm clearly ignorant.
So after I finished graduating from college, I was in Jai Hind and I graduated in English literature. I started hosting these Jazz by the Bay karaoke nights. Okay, so that's how I started.
Way. Okay.
Yeah. It was so popular and it was like the thing to do back then. So I'm talking like 1999, 2000,
yeah.
2000.
Before it became Pizza by the Bay, right? So just that bit.
No. The pizza place was always on the outside.
Okay.
Jazz by the Bay was inside.
Okay.
So I started hosting those nights, and at the same time, I needed a job because I just finished studying, and I started working at this radio production company. So there was no like radio as we have it these days.
Right.
Plain. We just had AIR. So
hey, Naveen's here. Hi, Naveen. How's it going?
Hey, Naveen. Happy New Year to you too. So I used to do programming, I used to do script writing, and I used to host shows. Some were for AIR, some were for other...
What's AIR?
All India Radio.
Okay. Oh, shit. That's where Ravi Shankar was like an in-house musician when it was first formed in the 50s.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
All India Radio was formed then, and there was like a whole internal group of musicians and stuff, and I'm just reading up about it now, which is why I know that.
Lovely.
Oh, look at you in that long line of heritage and shit. That's cool. So wow. Okay, cool.
So yeah, so some stuff for them. Air India used to outsource, the stuff that was played. So some of their like Riaz is there. Hi Riaz.
Hey Riaz. How you doing, bro? I really want to come back to India and get drunk in one of your venues again, and eat in one of your venues again, and just hang out in one of your venues again. So badly. But yes, sorry, please continue.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I was just doing this stuff for all these different companies and everything that were outsourcing content from India. And then what happened was I got called for this audition, which I really didn't want to go for because first of all, I was Parsi. Second of all, I just studied English literature, so I was like this big snob.
Why was being Parsi an issue? Why would that matter?
Because, Parsis don't do Bollywood.
Oh, I see. Okay, fine.
Yeah. And after I did the film and I went back to college, I was told off big time by my English literature teachers. What a disappointment I am.
Really?
How do something that disgusting. This is not worthwhile having a conversation with you after all of this.
I'm shocked. I didn't know about that. That's fucked. I mean, I can understand the English lit perspective because, it's superior to, would you say hi, Mom?
Marv.
I was going to say Mom. I was like, I'm swearing. Auntie's watching shit. But yeah, I mean, like, I can see that from the English lit kind of, the English lit sort of snobbery viewpoint. But the Parsi thing, I'm still a bit confused at.
Well, I mean, it's just the kind of space that I grew up in. Of course, now it's all very different and everybody loves Bollywood, wants to be in Bollywood. We've got a lot of great Parsi actors in Bollywood as well. But coming back, so anyway, that audition happened. I really didn't want to be a part of that film. So I went with oil in my hair, just really badly dressed. And like one of the ADs still remembers that. And he's a very dear friend, Tarun Mansakani. And
what
he's
film
like,
was it, by the way?
Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. He's
right,
like,
that massive
yeah, that massive film.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I'd only heard terrible things about Bollywood and I'd never really watched too many Bollywood films. So I didn't know anything because I didn't know anybody in the industry or anything. And so then they were like, no, Karan wants you in the film. He wants you to do it. And then I'm thinking, okay, if the film's got Amitabh Bachchan and Jaya Bachchan and Kareena Kapoor and Shah Rukh Khan and Kajol and Hrithik Roshan and Abhishek Bachchan, it can't be that bad.
Yeah, like fuck it, why not? Well, I'll just do it, right? So whatever, and you're getting paid to do it, so fuck it.
And I'm getting paid to do it. And more than anything else, what was really exciting for me was the fact that I was getting to go to London for a few months and all paid for. So I was like, okay, doesn't seem like I have too much to lose. So let's just go ahead and do it. And I think one of the best things was, Norm, I love acting. I really love acting. Like singing, acting is something I've been doing since I was like really, really little. So I guess that role ended up working so great because I acted so great. I'm not this hot tart that I was made out to be in the film.
I've never seen the film, right? I'm that ignorant. I've never seen the film.
Well,
so I'm gonna have to fucking take a look.
Yeah. I mean, my role is just like a little dot, but it's insane because people would remember my lines and come and say them to me. And sometimes, like, there'd be 3 or 4 VJs together doing a shoot somewhere. And people would come up and I'd be like, oh, they're coming up for, you know, one of the senior ones that they know and stuff. And they'd come up to me and they'd go like, oh my God, you're Sonia from K3G. And then they'd like say some line of mine and I'd be like,
K3G. Wow. I just got that. Okay, fine. Right. Shit.
So yeah, so it was fun, like PHAT, pretty untempting, and like all of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look at this film now and actually watch it. I knew it was massive because it was just everywhere. You couldn't fucking move for seeing it. It was everywhere.
Yeah, and it had a great soundtrack as well. And that's the first time I got to learn how to do Bollywood dancing. I still remember Farah saying, Thumka, get the hips out, more, what are you doing? And I'm one of those Parsis with 0 hips. So it was really hard for me to do, but it was fun. I loved it. It was a great experience. And then like I got another short role in a different film.
Sorry, was it? Did you have to like sort of put shoes on your knees if you were playing a short role, because you're playing a short role?
Wow, someone's on a roll tonight.
I mean, you missed this, I'm sure.
Roll tonight.
But sorry, go on, carry on. I cut you off for a shit uncle joke there. Please continue.
So anyway, yeah, I just did a couple of other. Like I did one guest appearance in a film and then I did one small little role in this other film. And the thing is, I just kept getting offers constantly to play this hot bimbette. And it was annoying to me and I just kept saying no because I do know, I mean, I did realize then, that Bollywood tends to stereotype a lot.
Especially back then. I think those images were perpetuated. If you're pretty and you're good looking, then you're going to be idiotic. And I guess that's a stereotype, right?
I mean, unless you're like the lead heroine or, you know, the star, then you get to play different characters or not, you know. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so then I didn't want to be typecast and play this role over and over again in every single film. And so I just started kind of saying no. And then people thought I didn't want to act, which was pretty tragic because I do love acting. I still love acting. But I want to be able to do things which are, you know, challenging, which are different to who I am, to something that I've already played. Because if I'm not doing that, then I'm not growing as an actor. I'm not fueling my creativity. I'm not...
And it's fucking boring, let's be honest, as well. Like it's acting, like the small experiences I've had over the years is that it's 80% waiting and 20%, sorry, in fact, 90% waiting and 10% fucking doing. And I'm just like, if you're not enjoying that experience, then it's just, ultimately, it's kind of a shit life. I have so much more respect for actors after that experience. I'm like, how the fuck do you cope with that much time sat doing nothing?
Right.
And I'm just, and it must be really like if it's not challenging you, I guess it could be even more boring because you're like, why the fuck am I here? You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then luckily, I got the chance to be on stage once again. So I had done Oliver, the musical. I played Nancy. And after that, I did this other musical, but that was once I came back from Switzerland. This musical, which was called Broadway and Beyond. So we had like all the best hits of Broadway from all the different musicals, and I love it because you get to act on stage, you get to dance, you get to sing, and everything's live, so you never know what's going to happen. So you really have to have your wits about you because you've got a whole theater full of people just staring at you. So for instance, like this one time, there's this scene in Oliver where this guy, he's got to like hold me and just kind of push me down and walk away. And that's when like this sad solo song of mine starts. And he got so into the character, he didn't realize. He pushed me so hard. I literally like fell and flew on the stage. And my spotlight needed to be adjusted because I was off mark. My stockings tore. My knee was like bleeding. Yeah, But
that sounds kind of abusive rather than getting into character.
But you know what was brilliant about it? It shook me so much that the trembling
came out.
Was so natural. and the funniest thing was like the whole auditorium went because they felt it, they saw it, and it was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So you just have to like have your wits about you. Sometimes the person that you're having like a dialogue with forgets their lines.
Yeah.
So you have to like prompt them, but you've got to do it in a very natural, clever, subtle way. But sometimes you forget it.
I mean, going back, did that fucker apologize to you?
He did. Oh my God, he felt so terrible. He had to run and go to the other wing, but he was just waiting in the wing saying, I'm so sorry, I don't know what I did. I was like, it's okay, later, go.
Okay, fine. As long as he wasn't some prick who was just like completely mistreating you like out of that, because that's just a bit like, yeah.
No, he didn't mean it, and
Shit. Talk about utilizing
it. Happens. I mean, all these things happen, So sometimes you're dancing and your skirt gets caught in your heels. And that is not fun.
I mean, there was that time. I mean, I beg your pardon, I burped quite loudly there. Sorry, but there was an interesting overlap between sort of Indian cinema and this Indian sort of celebrity stage show, which kind of turns into musicals, where you get all these Bollywood stars coming on to mime to music and dance to the numbers that are in their films. Did you ever get into that stuff or not?
Well, I did do some of those, to be honest. And it was fine. It's because like you were getting paid to do a gig, and the gig was always somewhere abroad, and you got to dance, and you're dancing with like Salman Khan or Saif Ali Khan or somebody like that.
Yeah.
So, it was good. It was fun. I enjoyed it. So.
But I guess that's completely different to actually acting in a.
Yeah, I mean, you're not really dancing. I mean, you are dancing, but you're not really singing on stage, and you're not really acting. It's not a whole story that people are getting sucked into from start to finish.
Right.
It's just like that one song, and then you go, you dance, shake, shimmy, all of that. And then you move, and the next person comes on and does the same thing. The attraction is just basically the star that's coming on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's kind of like you're the framework for the star to kind of look good.
Yeah. It's not about so much like the music, the song, the story,
or
as
the
much
art
as
even. Yeah.
The star.
It's kind of like a live waxwork show.
Yeah.
Like a living waxworks, just like trundle out the star and then.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Pretty much. But then, okay, so then after all the acting stuff, then you became a VJ?
Then I became a VJ,
That's
yes.
nuts. I totally thought it was the other way around. That's crazy. Okay.
So, actually, one of the films I did simultaneously while I was a VJ.
Mm-hmm.
But the other stuff, I mean, yeah, usually people join television first in order to get into movies. But I went like the other way around. I was in the movies, but then I started saying no to the movies, and yeah, I went on.
Huh. And did you find TV, like, I guess you must have found TV a bit easier to work in or more comfortable because you were in it for so long.
Shippe, hoy! So good to you to say. Come steal a little piece ow.
What language is that?
Sorry. Yeah, just German. I can see one of my friends from Zurich has logged in, so she was saying hi. Sorry for the interruption.
Not at all. I'm just like, your language sort of switch up was great. I just thought this booze had kicked in quite hard. Then I was like, the fuck? Am I hearing this correctly? Oh, it's a different language from the comments. I was like, shit. Okay, good. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone in the comments is like, German, you idiot. I'm like, yeah, okay, thank you. I am an idiot. I apologize.
Deutschland. Nein, Schweiz.
I mean,
Schweiz. Süß. Süß. Sweet.
Shoes.
Yeah, kind of sounds similar. So serious is sweet.
Okay.
In German?
I don't know any German except for Ich liebe dich and
wow, something nice. I got scared.
Yeah, and that's the only and obviously all the Nazi stuff because it's just in films a lot. And that's about it. Yeah. I was meant to be in Hamburg last November and I was kind of brushing off my my German dictionary, ready to go to Hamburg and do this gig. But alas, we entered lockdown 2, which was just, you know. Boo.
How was lockdown for you?
This, mainly, every week getting drunk with a friend has been like my salvation. That and Star Wars. Like
doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah, I mean, like honestly, like this is, I think before you came on, I pointed out this is week 42 of doing this. And
no,
yeah,
43.
40, let me just check. Let me check my notebook and I will give the exact number.
I was on, but I wanted to hear the introduction you were going to make for me. So I was like listening and not sending you the request to join because I wanted to hear.
Oh yeah, week 43, yeah, which is nuts. Week 43. So yeah, 43 weeks of getting drunk every Wednesday at 6 p.m. UK time with a friend has been my life.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. But it's helped me stay on an even keel. You know what I mean? It's like, I know what day of the week it is. I know that I have to bathe. I know that I have to look presentable and actually have a conversation with someone I haven't seen. Because the last time we met was in Bombay, right? Like fucking
yeah.
Did I see you in March in 2019 on that trip?
I'm
not
sure.
I did that big festival with Budweiser. I took out Foreign Beggars and Subfocus and this huge thing with, Muzzer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Muzz brought me in to do this festival with Budweiser in Bombay. I'm sure I saw you on that trip.
I don't know.
And Simon was here. Simon was over as well. No? Okay. Anyway.
I'm drawing up the line.
Oh, I'm glad that I'm so fucking memorable. Thanks, love. Wicked. Brilliant. It's just
the thing is, I've met you so many times, and every time you're here, even if I don't like see you at a gig or something, it's usually, early in the morning when somebody is massively hungover saying,
yeah.
I don't know anybody else that's awake at this hour. I'm fucking hungry. Come on, let's go get some breakfast.
Ramona is my breakfast buddy after a night of crazy. As Nicole said, it's like it is all hazy every time I'm there. It's like, oh, that's really sweet. Brittany from America is saying that these chats have been her salvation too. Ah, thank you, sister. That's very sweet. But yeah, no, basically, Ramona is my salvation in Bombay at like 9 a.m. when everyone I've been out with is passed out. And I'm just like, I need breakfast. Ramona, yeah, come on, let's get a smoothie and such. Because you've become less like, that's a good point, actually. I've seen you out at night less and less. Hi, Bishi. How are you? Bishi's amazing. She's great.
Hi, Bishi. Can you just give me a second? I just need to like put the AC on.
Go. Hi, Marvin. Hey, Bishi. How you doing? Bishi is so gangster. Check out all of her stuff. She's wicked. She's just got this whole women in tech thing going on. She's awesome. And Ramona's back. Hey.
Yeah.
So what were we talking about? Yeah. So I've realized now you've mentioned it that I used to see you out and about at night at sort of that party, you know, various times that I'm DJing. In fact, you know, you were at one of the second ever times I played in Bombay at that big Mykonos gig in fucking 2000 that you don't remember, you bastard. And that was a massive fucking gig. That was huge. It was, anyway, whatever. But you don't care. You know, whatever.
I love you.
Yeah. Shut up. And then I remember also there was this party at Bonobo, and it was like one of my birthday bashes, and I was covered in makeup. And Nikhil remembers that gig. Yeah, I love you, Nikhil. Ramona doesn't remember anything.
I think everybody remembers. Oh my goodness.
No, but the Bonobo. No, he wasn't at the Bonobo gig, or was he? But anyway, there was like.
Yes, it was at Bonobo that you did that.
Yeah, but there was okay. So it was packed, and there was some complete. Shut up, Nikhil. Stop talking about that. But there was this other gig. No. And then at Bonobo, there was like, I think they were English, right? But like proper sort of white, like arrogant English people, which was really annoying. And they walked in and were just being really obnoxious. And I think there was a sense of superiority there for sure. And kind of a little smidge of racism that I picked up on. And to cut a long story short, this dude threw a bottle at me while I was DJing. So I kind of dodged the bottle and threw a microphone at him. And then he got ejected from the venue. And I just remember Ramona going, no! But he was definitely in the wrong and I was defending myself, is the point. It wasn't just a random like, oh, you. It wasn't like that.
You know, I think as far as I remember, they were asking you to play some music that you didn't want to play.
No.
Yes.
It was...
Yes. And you told him, you said, fuck off. And he said, I'm not gonna fuck off. And he threw the bottle at you, and I'm like, no. And you went, bang! And it was like, no.
Well, I think because you know me so well, you're obviously gonna think the worst of me. But genuinely, there was a whole load of superiority overtones there that you missed out on completely. Nikhil's saying they probably asked him to play house. I was like, nah, bro. I can, you know, I know how to drop in some house.
I think they wanted some Bollywood.
Really? Do you really think that like sort of superior acting white dudes in shirts at Bonobo want to hear Bollywood?
Yeah. They were like, hey, Indian DJ, we are in Indian club.
Yeah, actually,
we want to do tight bird dance.
You know what? I think there was, what I got from it was a sense of like, you know, we're from England, we know what's good, and you're all Indian, so you should do what I say. That's the vibe I got from it. It was a real kind of a colonial fucking vibe that I got, which is why I was so adamant that they fuck off at the venue.
I'm sure.
Yeah. But it wasn't my fault, you bastard. I admit when it's my fault. I'm more than
etched
happy
in my memory forever.
I would happily admit when I am wrong. Definitely. And I was not wrong in that instance. But that I remember. But again, equally, going back to all these nighttime stories, is that you, Ramona, then became my daytime morning after salvation. Like getting some, you know, fresh smoothies and eggs and like salads and things into my body. And I was just like, good, Ramona's there. Coffee times, you know. It was wonderful. And that kind of echoed a transition in your life, going from sort of performance work and stage stuff and hosting events and shit to this whole wellness yoga stuff that you do, which is very trendy now. Like every motherfucker on Instagram does yoga.
Which is the sad thing about it in a way. But in a way, it's also a good thing for those who really understand what it is they're doing and why they're doing it. So I think first things first, I should just like be really honest and say that my relationship with the spiritual side of life started when I was 13 years old. And it was always kind of there. I just never really spoke about it. I was never really vocal about it. And then, you know, you're like a teenager, you want to do stuff, and then, you know, you've finished with your studies and you want to work, you want to do stuff for yourself. I was really desperate to move out of my parents' place and just live on my own and, you know, support myself and stuff. So that's where my focus was. And I love doing it, don't get me wrong. But the other side was also very much there. I just never made it the face of it all. In fact, on MTV, I used to host this show called Soul to Soul as well, which just made my heart super happy because I mean, it was just like this vignette, a few minutes long, I think, and we were just covering all different types of like wellness, just spiritual well-being as well, for the body, mind, soul. So it was quite nice to do that. I did Vipassana when I was 16 years old, and I
Wow.
absolutely loved it. Loved it. I was like, why can I not do this longer? I could just very easily
Really?
do this.
So
Yeah.
Vipassana is the silent retreat thing, right? Where you're silent for like 30 days or whatever, 10 to 30 days.
Well, the beginner is 12, and then you can do 20 days, you can do 30 days, you can do, I mean, as long as you want later. But
I mean, I have a friend of mine that's done that recently, and it's really helped them a lot. But with you doing that at 16, that's quite mad because that's the age that I sort of, discovered naughty things in my life, and being able to sort of go off the rails. I was like, I will leave comic books behind, and I will go this way into the madness and night. And you went to a silent retreat.
I was a virgin till I was 18 because I just thought until I'm that old, I'm not going to be doing any nonsense because I just don't want to get into.
You sound like such an auntie. Until I'm that old, I will not be getting into any nonsense.
Yeah, because I mean, like you see all these horrible shows about like teen pregnancies and things like that, and that's the last thing I wanted at that time. So I was like, no, and no guy's gonna get into my pants.
Oh shit! The abstinence message fucking worked. Wow.
No. It was out of choice. It's something that I wanted to do
Oh no,
for me.
absolutely. But the
I just
messaging.
didn't feel like I was there, and I just said to myself, wait till you're 18.
Sure.
So
I mean, that's each to their own. But I just find, yeah, okay. So 16, you were still a good girl then.
yes, I was a very good girl. And like I said, spirituality was a big part of my life. And so I was constantly in search of a guru. I was in search of some practice that I could follow forever. But I just kept finding different practices that I was just learning different things from, but nothing that I actually stuck with, in terms of like, this is it, and I've just stuck with this. It's just really amazing, to just be in the moment, learning from whoever it is you're learning from, and not being attached to them and not getting sucked into that whole system of, okay, now if you're a true follower, you're going to bring another 10 people and you're going to sell this many books and this many CDs. And a lot of that started happening, though I will say it never happened with Vipassana. Never ever. That is one of the cleanest, best, and most beautiful meditation techniques and gifts, literally, that have been given to this planet. And India is so fortunate to have so many centers. I don't know why people don't do it as often as they should. It would just help India tremendously. People just get scared when they hear like, oh my God, you can't speak for 10 days. But the whole thing is, it's about no communication. So it's not just about speaking. There's other ways of communication. So there's no eye contact. There's no reading. There's no writing. You cannot do a yoga or any other practice because anyway, you're like waking up at 4 in the morning and you're in bed by 9:30, 10 latest. You're eating breakfast, you're eating lunch, and then you have a small little snack with your tea at 4 o'clock, and then you're done. So you don't even really have the energy to do anything that's like hardcore or strenuous. It's really relaxed. You just take like relaxed walks. Men and women are segregated, and you're mainly meditating throughout the rest of the day. You have breaks in between as well, where you can just go relax, sit by yourself, shower, do whatever you need to.
I appreciate the introspection of it, the aspect of looking, like Priti says in the comments, looking inwards and being comfortable with stillness and all that. I get that. I think that personally, for me, I like getting the shit out of my head and writing it down. So when you said no writing, I was like, fuck. I mean, I guess you've got nowhere to exhaust out all those thoughts, so you have to kind of digest them. So what did you get out of that whole experience at 16?
I got a tremendous amount of peace. Like, I think I possibly reached day 8, and that day I just laughed. I just kept on and on and on laughing, okay, like an idiot. And what triggered it was a leaf just like falling down from the tree, and it fell down, and I couldn't stop laughing. It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen in my life. And it's silly, it's bizarre, in a way, but it's just a form of release.
Yeah.
And then the next day, I was sobbing and sobbing and sobbing, and I could not stop sobbing.
That's interesting. Do you think that triggered it because of that silence?
Absolutely. And that's what happens to everybody, pretty much, in some form or the other. There is a release because, no, we live in a world where there's constant distraction. So even if we're not speaking much, even if we sit with ourselves, there's still a million things going on. There's something to read or there's something to see. You're never truly ever just sitting with yourself, by yourself. And it's not easy. It's something we all run away from. And a lot of that has to do with the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind only likes what is known to it. It doesn't like what is unknown, because what is unknown is potentially dangerous. It's threatening to it. So it wants to avoid it at all costs. Whereas, what is known to it is comfortable. And even if it's not beneficial to you, the subconscious mind will still keep making you do it because it's safe. It's known to it.
Yeah, but I think
not a threat.
That kind of sounds a little bit like addiction in a way. Like the similar sort of repeated cycles of things that make you feel better. In another abstract. But have you been back since you were 16? Because I think that Ramona's talking about the Vipassana, Rachel. Yes, in the comments. But the fascinating thing is that at 16, as you said, you were a self-described good person. You didn't do any naughty things at all. Have you been back?
No, I did drink and smoke a lot.
Sure, but I guess the point I'm saying is that when you're 16, you've got less shit going on in your head than you have when you're 30, for example. There's way more shit going on in your head. Really?
No,
okay.
Yeah. Look, again, different people, different circumstances, different upbringings. So I had a lot of, I had a really hard time growing up. I had a lot of shit that I had to deal with.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it helped work through that, basically.
Sorry?
It helped work through all of that, essentially.
I wouldn't say anything helps you work through it all, like in a permanent way as such. It gives you the tools to be able to handle things way better. And that's what it did for me. It offered me a lot of peace. It offered me a lot of strength. And it also, if you listen to the talks, so Goenka ji gives talks every day for like an hour. And everything that he says, it's just so simple, but it just makes so much sense. And you just wonder, why am I not using this in my everyday life? Why do I just complicate things unnecessarily? And it's amazing to just sit with yourself and just observe how you react to people. You observe what goes on in your body. Like maybe I meet somebody that I'm not particularly fond of, or somebody that was like really rude to me or did something not nice to me.
You mean me?
No, you're my darling. But you just tend to if you stop there and you just observe what's going on in your body, you'll notice the physiology is actually changing. The heartbeat's a little faster.
Yeah, of course. You start seeing red, you react in different ways to different triggers, and you start to figure out what those are, and then you can counteract them.
But the thing is, like, why am I allowing this to happen? What's going on in me that is reacting to this, that is resisting this encounter or this type of energy? Or why am I still holding something that happened 10 years ago as something that's happening right now.
Okay,
the way I reacted to it back then is not how I need to keep reacting to that same energy.
Sure.
And that's the reason why sometimes we tend to attract the same kind of boyfriend or girlfriend or partner or whoever into our lives. You know, like things keep repeating and repeating until we actually sit with ourselves and deal with it ourselves. We have to change ourselves. We can't really change anybody else on the outside.
You can change your reaction though.
Exactly. You change your perspective. You have to not just see things from one point of view. And I think that is what my journey has taught me more than anything. So I love that.
Oh, that's awesome. Because I think there was a point where, you know, I was going to disagree with, well, I do disagree with you on a couple of points. And that is where, you know, is accepting your reaction to it. Why is there this physiological change to things? Why do I get angry to this person? And then I know that, and I've tried to adjust how I feel. So I'll just not speak to that person. That's what, you know, there's an adjustment to that. So I'll stop. But
isn't that more avoiding than actually just...
Well, here's the point, is that if you've tried to go through it and accept it, and you've tried every other aspect, I think that there's nothing wrong with saying, well, you're damaging, so therefore I won't want to engage, you know?
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure.
And then,
you don't need to surround yourself with triggers all the time. But you just need to understand and be aware of what triggers you. Because it's very easy, you know, all of us say like, oh, this person's an asshole. This person is X, Y, Z.
100%.
But there's something in you that's resonating with it still. Whether it's a not good sensation or it's a good sensation. It's still resonating.
But that's what I'm talking about. That's the point, is that I think I'm at a point where I just let it happen rather than trying to numb it. You know what I mean? I'm kind of like embrace my demons rather than try and hide the demons in a way. I love my demons. As Brittany said, the evilness is kind of, and even debauchery or whatever to me, and I had this really odd sort of epiphany a while ago, particularly about touring life. Especially when Prince died, or you know, and whatever, about sort of opiate use in musicians. You know, there's been a lot of deaths that have happened through extreme opiate use in the States, in particular. And I was like, you know, you go back or you think back to certain gigs. I'm not sure whether you've experienced this, but I'm sure you have in some capacity, where you don't have, you're not quite there. You're either in physical pain or you're not quite prepared for this event. So you kind of numb yourself up, whether it's through alcohol or whatever else, and you just get on stage and fucking do it, you know, because the show must go on. There's that whole thing of just, you put all of those feelings aside and just fucking get on with the show, because that's the most important thing.
I know this feeling.
Right. It's the same as any fucking tour as well. You know, this relentless cycle of whatever, and, you know, you kind of get on with it. And so I think that there was a realization that happened where, with meditation or with journaling or other practices, try and find that neutral place where you can just let go. Also is the same with numbing yourself up through alcohol or whatever. It's kind of like, it's the same sort of space in a way, bizarrely.
Do you think?
Yeah, just without a hangover. Yeah, I think one's obviously physically better for you than not. But I realized that the ability to sort of shift your brain into neutral and just get on with shit is kind of that sweet spot where you just let the things happen rather than overthinking things, you know?
Right, but here's my take on it. And I mean, I'm not saying that I'm somebody that's like never had any alcohol or things like that, but I just feel like you don't need that alcohol or the drugs to be able to bring yourself to that space.
100%. I agree with you there. I had a realization that space once reached is kind of similar. And there's more efficient ways of getting there. But it was just the realization of like that process of numbing up to get to that performative state, to getting to that state through other means that aren't destructive is really similar. They were just, you know, just that parallel was fascinating to me.
Yeah, it is. You know, that is why also I think a lot of people like to use things like hallucinogens and things like that to get to elevated spaces and states.
Mm.
And a lot of people just like, you know, having a doobie at the end of the day because it just kind of brings them to a space which is pretty, you know, relaxing, relieving, neutral in their minds. But I just feel like there's a difference because when you actually just sit with yourself and acknowledge whatever it is that's going on, instead of just doing something to numb it. So that work, that whole process, that journey of sitting with yourself, understanding, observing, and taking all those steps to get to that space, then actually helps you the next time do it faster.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Or you know, just it clears it up a little bit more. I won't say it's like 100% and the next time, you know, you're just there. No, but it's just, you don't need to keep like smoking every day or having that one drink every day.
100%.
Or, you know, you're actually dealing with something and then you just start observing how things start shifting and changing around you in different aspects of your life as well. It's amazing. And
yeah, 100%.
I've been doing this like for so many years. And I still get fascinated and my mind still gets blown every time something else comes up and I'm like, oh my God, I still have to work on this. And oh my God,
that was what I was going to say, is that what I've kind of realized over the last 4 years was that it's not a magic switch. It's a continual fucking process. It's an ongoing fucking thing. And that's the thing, you know, and the other point that I was going to get to, which is that I have real issues with human beings. So in terms of finding a teacher or a guru or someone to believe in, the issue that I have is that from my experience, it always turns into like a social hierarchy. So personally, I'm like, fuck all of you. Do you know what I mean? Fuck all of you in terms of all of your structures. I'm not there to massage your ego. I want to get the information and get the fuck out. You know what I mean? So I've got this, which is probably why I never actively tried to interview Prince. Anyway, or work with him in any capacity, because I was just like, I don't want to be disappointed by that idea in my head, because I think inherently people are disappointed.
What you mean.
Yeah,
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. Hang on. Pretty's just sent a question. Do you feel discomfort arises because of fear of loss and death? No, I don't. Do you?
I mean, it could for a lot of people, sure. I mean,
but you personally, I guess, are you afraid of loss?
Like, am I afraid of loss? If I have to be perfectly honest, yeah, of course, there is fear. Like, what if I lose, you know, all my money, or what if I lose my health? You know, what's going to happen? There is that fear that exists in me, in terms of fear of loss.
And actually, Mayur in the comments has just said, actually, which pertains to this question, is like, you know, the peace of mind is accepting the worst. What do you say about that?
Oh, I absolutely agree. If you can make peace. So this is what a lot of people have said, that like all fear basically stems from fear of death. And I always used to get really fascinated, because I was somebody that always thought that I was very cool with dying, because for as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to die. I used to say, I'm dying to die. Like, I couldn't wait to die.
And there's that angst right there. So, I mean...
like, you know, like sometimes I'd have all these visions of like, okay, how am I going to die? And like, you know, just stuff like that. But for me, I would still say, like, what are these people saying? Like, I do have fears, but I'm not afraid of death. And now the way I perceive death and understand death is, it's not just the end of this physical life, but it could be death of a relationship. It could be death of, you know, just anything. And even if you look at like my relationship with food, for instance, there is a fear of death in that relationship.
Yeah, because you don't want it to end because it's so delicious, and the last bite will go, and therefore it will be over.
Not just that, yeah, but it just, if you look deeper and deeper, it's actually, it goes into a space of, oh my God, if I don't eat this now, I don't know when I'm going to get my next meal, and I don't know if I'm going to get a meal that's this good, and then I don't know if I'll get a meal, again, and so I might as well eat right now, and I may as well feel satiated, and if I don't eat now, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Maybe, I can see that. There's a fascinating thing that I think, again, Priti in the comments was mentioned, so which I was going to say to you as well, is that it's not, for me, it's not fear of death, it's fear of pain and suffering more than anything else. Like, death in itself is just like, essentially that switch we're talking about, but the pain and suffering leading up to it, I think is more, I'm more scared of that. I'm more scared of pain, and I'm more scared of suffering than I am of it going.
But what is pain and what is suffering? It's death of health, right? So it's like everything is death. Everything is death of something. And that is what we fear. I'm just saying that that's the essence of what at least I've understood. I may be absolutely wrong.
But maybe that's just loss or something being over. It was weird because I think, there's this thing that I've been thinking about more and more and more about extremism and about organized religion and about everything, which is the human condition, that realistically we don't know why the fuck we're here. So anything with a great narrative arc that helps us explain something or feel important or relevant to a story is important. And that can be fucking Star Wars, that can be organized religion, that can be politics. It's all just a fucking way for us to feel important in this world where we mean nothing. And I've sort of come to this conclusion where that's why certain conspiracy theories or religion or whatever, like current political situations where there are people that I'm sure we both know that are intelligent, believe kind of extremist views. And that's because there's this existential fucking human desire to understand why the fuck you're here. And it permeates everything. So if you can construct a really good narrative arc, you can get people behind you and make them believe and do whatever the fuck you want to. And in my opinion, that's politics and religion as well,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think
I do not disagree.
Yeah, so I think we're talking about the same thing. That kind of fear is, and it is still, though, I think it's still distinct to actual physical pain that's caused by suffering. So, me post-leg operation was in fucking agony, and I'm just like, right, I need these painkillers because that's a physical pain that I don't want back again. Coming from a humble background, I think that survival instinct of food or shelter or, getting that stuff is very much, I think they're all separate things, actually, in a way, but they're all linked by that existential dread. And that's what I mean by me being negative. I'm just like, yeah, that's what it is.
No, it's not about you being negative. I don't think it's got anything to do with negativity.
Okay, well, a positive pessimist in that case.
It's a nice way to put it.
Yeah.
I'll accept that.
And I'm glad, I'm glad that you're into this shit before it became trendy on Instagram. That's heartening for me to hear. I mean, I fucking know you're into this stuff as well, but it's just nice to hear you say that, because if it's been there for ages, and it also must be difficult to then verbalize that now. Thank you for that word, by the way, Priti, verbalizing. Excellent. But it must be kind of problematic because you get the assumption that you're doing that for a career purpose or for clout or for Instagram followers or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, it's been really difficult, actually, to be honest. I struggle with this whole social media thing so much.
I mean, you were nervous about doing this, which is quite sweet, but also hilarious because you are a fucking old school professional presenter. So what the fuck?
Yeah, I was actually nervous, and I mean, that has to do with me and my insecurities about myself because, like I told you earlier, I was like, but I don't have any work to talk about because I'm not doing glamorous things and fun things, and I thought like that's what,
Who's got anything glamorous and fun to talk about in the last fucking year and a half? Let's be honest. Well, actually, no, 9 months. 9 months, yeah. No. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I was nervous. But coming back to the social media thing, I was actually I still struggle with it. I still struggle. Like, there are days when I just don't want to post and I don't post. Because how can you have something to say every day? And I follow some accounts and like, they were great initially, but then I'm just like, okay, now these messages are just super repetitive.
Repetitive. Are you drinking or am I? Super repetitive.
Repetitive.
But that's it. But then you come out with this whole new wellness angle as well. Because actually, after your VJ stuff, you then became a travel correspondent. You did a whole load of travel shows and shit like that. You did your hosting, and the wellness thing and that kind of whole thing, I guess, switched online, and more so now because of this pandemic, right? So I guess it's a fucking minefield for you to navigate.
Sorry, say the last thing again.
It's a minefield for you to navigate, particularly when it's so trendy to be into wellness and yoga right now.
Yeah, and everybody's got people shooting them and all these beautiful videos and beautiful pictures and all these things. And sometimes I just feel like, am I like being an idiot? Like, am I not keeping up with the times? Am I resisting social media? Like, I mean, I do think a lot. Because I understand that, okay, yeah, this is how the world is communicating and everything. Like, I haven't been on Facebook since ages. Instagram is pretty much the only thing I have going on. Twitter as well, but Twitter is where things get maybe a little bit political, and I tweet a lot about vegan stuff and, like, being animal friendly and wildlife and the environment and all of that, which I think sometimes I do keep going on about on my Instagram as well. Animals, vegan, wildlife, forest, save.
It's fascinating because I think it's not forced, but I think that it's interesting that we've got to express our beliefs now to define who we are. So, I deliberately don't talk about whatever I do, whether it's exercise or any kind of self-care shit, because I don't want that to be like, I don't want to be a proponent for that because it seems like I'm clout hunting in a way, or I don't want to be fucking preachy. Not that you are at all. I was saying me personally.
No. I sometimes think that I am, but I don't care because I just feel like, especially when it comes to like animal abuse or, deforestation or denotifying a freaking elephant reserve because you want to chop like tons of trees down just to build an airport, which is not even needed.
Yeah.
It's just bullshit.
There's a lot of shit happening in the world to talk about and to,
especially in terms of like animal cruelty. Like, I don't get it. I mean, I am Parsi. I used to eat a whole lot of non-vegetarian every single day. 4 meals of the day, I would be eating 4 different types of animals for sure, at a minimum, And it's only since I like did my yoga teacher training that I then started considering like this whole vegan route and everything. I did become vegetarian when I was 14 for about a year and a half, and then again when I was 17, and then again a little bit in the middle. But the whole vegan thing actually came about when I understood that, okay, the 8 limbs of yoga, the first thing you're taught about is ahimsa, which is non-violence. And so I kept thinking, okay, but I'm not killing the animals, so I'm not doing anything, that's violent. And I kept struggling with it a lot. The vegan diet initially didn't suit me because I was eating everything that I thought I needed to eat. And so, like, I took Ayurvedic consultations and they were like, no, all your ancestors are meat eating, so it's in your system, you need to eat meat. Different doctors, all of them were just like, no, you need meat, you need to eat meat. And so I started eating meat, but then I was just eating with guilt all the time. And I spoke to a lot of teachers as well on what they thought about this whole thing. And everyone was like, just do what you need to do. It's fine. And what actually there were a few things that made me just switch and never go back.
Mm-hmm.
I just in one of my meditations, I was just kind of talking to, I don't know, God, the universe, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And I was just like, what should I do? I really want to be vegan, but this is not working. Like, and I'm not getting clarity. I'm not getting an answer. What should I do? And is it wrong for me to be eating meat? And I just got like a really like straightforward question saying, if I murdered somebody that was close to you, but I didn't murder them directly, I paid somebody to do it, would that act be okay for you?
Okay.
Would you hold that person accountable?
Yeah.
Or would you hold me accountable?
Right. So the accountability of it came back to you in that instance.
Yeah, it came back to me. It's like that person only killed the other because I paid that person to. And then I started to watch videos. I really forced myself. Like earlier, I'd be like, oh, I can't watch this cruelty and everything. I don't want to know how leather got. I don't want to know how they pluck eyelashes out from innocent animals to create fake eyelashes. I don't want to know about makeup brushes. I don't want to know about the meat industry, the dairy industry, which is even more cruel than the meat industry.
I mean,
but,
I was going to say
the
whole sort of mechanization of farming has a lot to answer for. Of anything. But also, the reason why I laughed is because Yazzie jumped up in the comments. A friend of mine, she's like, what up, party people? And now she's like, oh, shit.
Hey!
That's fucking wicked.
It's a lifestyle change party.
She's like, oh, shit, you're talking about this. Oh, goodbye. But yeah, actually, you know what?
So, yeah. So I did force myself to watch it, and when I watched it, it was just so heartbreaking. And I was like, these animals are no different from my dog. Would I be able to grab my dog, force it in a cage where it can't move, make it spend its whole life there, let it live in its own shit and its piss, and just keep feeding it hormones so it's fat, and then chop its paws off while it's still alive, cut its ears off while it's still alive, hang it upside down by one leg, and just like split it and then rip its skin out while it's alive.
And the party continues with this whole description. The
thing is, no, if I can't do it and I'm paying somebody else to do my dirty work, that's not okay for me. And when I'm doing that, what kind of a society am I creating?
So what's your...
people are going in every single day from Monday to Friday or Monday to Saturday. And just slaughtering.
So
These animals are crying, they're screaming. No animal goes voluntarily, happily
100%.
To get slaughtered.
So the thing that I was going to then go to was the socioeconomic issues that come along with that, particularly in India right now, seeing as we're going there with animal cruelty, but also how then that's weaponized. Particularly with, say, against lower classes or people that actually herd cows for a living or work with leather, all those kinds of things. That I totally understand your approach to cruelty. I think that it's the same, I was talking about my distrust for organizations generally or any sort of social hierarchies, that then that's weaponized, particularly in India, for a superiority complex, like the word non-veg, for example, or treating certain people that have no option but to work in those things they're born into. It then gets weaponized because I don't think those people have a choice to do that job either.
No, they don't, because everybody needs money, right?
Right, and that's what I mean.
When there's demand, there's going to be supply. And if you think about it, we're 8 billion people on this planet.
I was going to say, India, is it that much already? What the fuck?
No,
there's enough COVID babies suddenly made the whole fucking population boom. But yeah, sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, no, so I'm just saying that, like, to me, if the demand stops, the supply will stop. and people can actually find other means of earning a living without being,
if the demand stops, for sure,
without
but
being forced to do this and have no other option.
That's it. I think that the whole issue with Dalits and people that work with leather and the whole sort of the whole way that the right in India is utilizing these things against and weaponizing them against a certain people is awful, and that's cruelty in a whole other fucking way. You know what I mean? And I think you're totally right. Is that once the demand subsides, it'll go. But then, you know, having India's, I think, what is it, the second biggest exporter of leather on the planet. So it's a major economic vehicle, and the people working in it are treated like shit, and they have no other fucking choice but to do that because society won't let them elevate. So
yeah, it's like the ones that clean the sewers and the gutters, and they're literally covered in shit.
And I don't think,
and no matter how hard they scrub themselves,
so
they smell.
I don't think it's about demand. I think it's about societal structure, full stop. Because even if demand does go, like for example over here, meat consumption by animal welfare or eating good meat, for example, because I'm going to eat those cells, they'll become part of my body. So I want to make sure that if I, personally speaking, I would happily hunt and butcher an animal personally, because I'm like, yo, I'm going to fucking, you know, if I'm going to eat it, I need to know where it came from, I need to know the conditions of it, whatever the fuck, right? And I was hardcore vegetarian and anti-vivisection when I was a kid as well. So I was like, full on point, you know, of all of that, against animal testing, not wearing leather, all that stuff, no meat, fish, eggs, all that kind of stuff. And there was this certain thing that if you wanted to consume meat, then make sure that it's the best quality you can get and that it had a good life. That's my personal take on it. But in India, like we've said, there's this whole other socioeconomic and caste basis that's way more complicated. So you can't, I think it's difficult to attack those people that are forced in that position.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't attack them and I don't blame them. But I blame every single
Sorry, I don't mean to say you were attacking them. Please forgive me.
No.
Yeah.
But I just mean that like each human being is responsible for the choices that they make in life, and if they're choosing to not see what is ugly. And that truth is ugly. Watch how animals are being slaughtered. Watch what is being done. And understand that it's not just, oh, I eat chicken once a week. Understand that because of even that demand, there's 8 billion people on this planet. So there is supply for not just 8 billion, but more than that. Because if you walk into a regular supermarket, you're going to have meat in the frozen section. You're going to have meat at the butcher section. You're going to have meat at the packaged section. You're going to have meat at the takeaway deli section. You're going to have meat in the ready-to-go meals. And that's just one supermarket.
It's multiple options.
And it goes on. And it's marinated in this, it's marinated in that. Like you've got a whole, like there's so much death, torture, and misery in there.
Because it's commodified, essentially.
Exactly. Because it's an industry, and you have to understand that to supply even for that one chicken thing that you want to have in the week, you are living in a world of options. So there's going to be 10 different chickens that have been slaughtered and killed for you. And the other thing is, like, even in terms of dairy, right? Like, the male calf is of no use.
So
they're dragged away from the moms, they're thrown off mountain cliffs, they're choked to death, they're just squashed together. I mean, it's horrendous what happens. The same with chicks.
I was going to say it's the same with chicks. Yeah, absolutely. It's fucked up. But I think isn't the issue therefore?
It's an industry. So what are they going to do? They will just keep supplying.
Isn't the issue therefore capitalism? Full stop. And the industrialization and manufacturing and sale of all these options to get an edge over someone else. So you're totally right. I didn't think about this till now, but the preparing of other meat stuff, and then I was thinking that actually, like, supermarkets and agriculture has such low margins essentially, that they reconstitute shit into chicken nuggets and whatever the fuck else, like horrible sort of street, like strip bones and stuff to create other meat-like sludge or whatever. You know, there's all these, the kind of, what's it called? I think it's the, yeah, it's an efficiency factor, right, that they apply to it. So the maximum efficiency to get the most yield out of one.
Exactly.
Chicken, you know what I mean? And I totally, you know, mechanized farming, all of that kind of shit is a massive, massive problem. But what's your take on sort of like lab-grown meat substitutes?
Like you mean Beyond and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Ooh, I really like it. Like, I'll be honest, I mean, it's not like because I'm vegan, I never think about non-vegetarian food, but I've been, you know, born and brought up living, eating, breathing. So yeah, there are times when I think like, oh, I would love to have like a pork vindaloo, or I would love to have like, you know.
Oh, for our British viewers, vindaloo over here is what you'd get from a shit Indian restaurant. Over in India, it's way better. It's like a Goan dish, right? So it's a Indo-Portuguese dish.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. But the thing is, I just can't. I can't even get myself to cheat and just have like one little bite, because I don't see it as meat and I don't see it as a dish anymore. I actually see it as something that was living
and running around with a great fucking personality, because pigs are awesome.
No, I don't even think it was running around.
Okay.
I just feel like it was born into a life of captivity. It spent a horrible life in captivity to be ultimately sacrificed for me to enjoy in something that tastes so good. Why? Because of all the spices and the minerals in there, which are earth elements. That's what makes it taste so good. And I just feel like I'm going to enjoy that. And that entire lifetime is like, it accounts for nothing. Like what, 15 minutes that it takes me to enjoy that meal? And then it's literally going to be flushed down the toilet.
That's true.
And is that what a life is worth? So I don't want to.
Yeah, I think that's interesting, because it goes into a hierarchy of like the value of life, which is the other thing, you know. But equally, I had a similar conversation which got to ridiculous levels with a vegan friend of mine, because we're talking about natural birth and the whole wellness thing, and how it started off because there's this weird, I love, you know, Venn diagrams, but there's this weird cross section of like new age wellness people and the far right, and in the middle there's this overlap in the middle. It was where this whole fucking conversation came from. It was like shit. And we were discussing about this whole thing and how there are certain strains of wellness and being aware of issues that can be misinterpreted and weaponized. And I posed this question. I was like, because it went into childbirth as well. And I was like, would it be okay for a really strict vegan to eat a placenta after they've given birth? Because, you know, there's this whole idea that once you've given birth, you can eat the placenta afterwards. Maybe really good for you, a source of iron, source of sort of micronutrients and all sorts of positive hormones. So would that be a way that a really strict vegan could eat meat?
But I don't think a vegan wants to have anything to do with any animal products.
No, but their own placenta.
That's what it's about. Yeah, but it's still an animal product.
Yeah, but it's your own product, so it's not really causing any harm. It was an interesting conversation I was having with them. I was like, yeah, would you eat a placenta that you birthed? I'll take that as a no. No matter how many minerals and earth things you put in it, you're just like, that. Fuck off. I'm not going to have any of that.
No. Ew, I would not. And I think, honestly, being vegan is more about choosing compassion.
Yeah.
People just you know, limit it to oh, you're vegan, you're trying to be cool, and you know, whatever.
Well, and this is why I ridicule it. And this is
compassion.
That's why I can firmly, like, because we're friends, I can ridicule you about it, because it's kind of an honest conversation that needs to be had. And equally, I really fucking miss the honest conversations we'd have in London when we're just hanging out. It's a real fucking, like, I miss you very much.
Oh, I miss you too, Revelation. Been so long since I've seen
When
you.
was the last time you were here, actually?
When you were moving into that home.
Have you been here?
You just about moved into that
So
home.
it's 3 years ago. Wow.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been to London. I haven't come. There's far more beautiful and interesting places in the world to visit. And I've been like to some beautiful places recently. So yeah, I'm happy. That's what I hope to be able to keep doing.
And you ended up at the mountains during lockdown, which is pretty awesome.
Yes, all thanks to my boyfriend who was like, I need to get out of here. So I was like, I don't know if I can. And he's like, I'm planning a trip.
And you're like, shut up and come, bastard. Got you.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I'll come.
So do you just shout at each other across the city? Have you not heard of mobile phones, for fuck's sake? I mean, I know you're on one, but Jesus. Like, you can just talk normal. Okay, I'm going on a trip now. Okay.
I'm just trying to convey the angst that was felt in both of us.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, speaking of angst, my bladder is getting full. So I think I need to go and wee-wee. I think so.
Okay.
And you need to go to sleep as well, Nay? What time is it in India now?
Now I'm freaking wide awake thanks to you. I have no idea what the time is. I just know that I've been wired with this green mango tea.
Who needs alcohol or any of the substances when you've got green mango tea and toothpicks to keep your eyes open?
This is true. Where are they? Here. But I don't need them no more.
No,
I can actually use them as...
This is the impact I have. I'm glad. Excellent. And also,
And that's my tea.
No caffeine.
Whoa! Look at you. No caffeine and me full caffeine.
I found myself way too fucking wired after a full can of Coke. I was like, shit, I'm getting old where I can't deal with the caffeine of all things.
Yes, it really is yummy.
Hell.
And I think your tea was very yum too today, the way you described it.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Okay, my lovely.
Yeah.
I really need to pee. So, thank you so much for this. I appreciate catching up with
Thank you.
Mwah.
And thank you everyone that came and joined us and listened and watched.
Yeah,
and stuff.
all that business. Yes, thank you. And I'm
Thank
going to go
you.
read now. Bye.
Bye.
I turn this end.